Recently, this tweet from Abolitionists Rising was posted, and today I'm going to talk about it and talk about why we need to defend IVF and why we must oppose the cuckservatives. So recently, the cuckservatives and cucks have started going after IVF and have started to invent fake moral arguments as to why their position is supposedly good, even if these arguments aren't true. This is significant as IVF paves the way for surrogacy and artificial wombs. You cannot have artificial wombs without IVF, and surrogacy would become 10 times harder. The cuckservatives aim to accomplish several things by severely restricting or banning IVF, which is in vitro fertilization. These are: number 1, enforcing marriage and relationships as the only way to have children. 2, punish dissent and punish those who aren't heterosexual or in a relationship. And 3, crush MGTOW. Here is what the cuckservatives are claiming. Their main and only argument is that a non-viable embryo is somehow a human life, and that IVF is immoral as it's quote-unquote unnatural, and goes against what they believe is the natural way of having kids. Here I'm going to address why they are wrong and correct their misinformation, but first I must mention something. I exist because of IVF, and because of that I'm living proof that IVF is good and that IVF is great, and that it's in perfect alignment according to MGTOW values. When the cuckservatives and far-right cucks and gynocentrists state that IVF is immoral and bad and should be banned, they're stating that the way I started to exist is immoral and bad, and that's just offensive. Secondly, a non-viable embryo that was created in a lab is in no way equal to a living and breathing human being, and that argument is just plain wrong. An embryo is just an embryo that exists and is waiting to be placed inside of a womb, and if it isn't, it's just frozen indefinitely. An embryo should not be classified as a human life because it isn't. Discarding an embryo that has no chance of surviving, which is a routine part of IVF, and killing an actual person are not and will never be the same thing. Thirdly, the claim that IVF should be banned because it's quote-unquote unnatural is just plain stupid. Natural does not automatically mean good, and many things in this world that are great are unnatural and artificial, and thanks to technology the world is a better place. We should not bow down to cuckservatives and their religion because they think they're right. We should have the freedom to choose our way of life, and because of that IVF and surrogacy should both stay legal. Defending IVF is the most MGTOW thing one can do. By defending IVF, we defend the only clear path to surrogacy and artificial wombs, and defending IVF is honorable and good. In our defense of IVF and thereby the defense of surrogacy, I also propose that we should do this. We must, as MGTOWs, or at least we should, negotiate in good faith with the LGBTQ+ community and reach a peace agreement, as reaching a peace agreement will allow both communities to fight together against common enemies, that being the cuckservatives and TERFs, and by extension all of feminism. Think about it. The cuckservatives and cucks wish to impose upon us their way of life and thus impose gynocentrism by making it difficult to be single, by making it illegal to use IVF and surrogacy and adopt kids. They believe that by enforcing heterosexual marriage is the central basis for society. Is the way forward. The LGBTQ+ community only really wants one or two new pronouns to be recognized and for their community to be guaranteed the right to exist. The cuckservative and cuck vision is fundamentally incompatible with the principles of MGTOW and MGTOW values. The LGBTQ+ community, however, could be reasoned with, and we could negotiate a peace deal that will cover all of the potential concerns that exist on both sides, but more on that on a future video. In conclusion, the cuckservatives are a far bigger threat to us MGTOWs than any other faction, and if there's anything I can predict, it's that they will keep up the pressure and continue to pass and enforce their destructive and anti-MGTOW policies, and this is why we must stop them. To guarantee the existence of MGTOW and the MGTOW community, we must actively oppose and challenge the cuckservatives. The stakes are high and only one side will win, and we should make sure that we are the ones that come out on top. We will win, and no faction of any kind will force us to abandon our values, as MGTOW values are the true values and are the best values on planet Earth, and are the best values to live by. Anyways, this has been Igor, MGTOW and video games. Like and subscribe and click the bell notifications on YouTube if you enjoyed the video, and follow me on odyssey.com, MGTOW.tv and Twitter, and join my Guilded server. Bye bye and thanks for watching.